grow up and they have no friends that even know the name of Almighty Yahweh. When the elders that they've looked up to are too busy getting caught up in the world themselves to follow suit. Now, we said we're not going to follow Israel's footstep, but isn't that what some of us are doing? We may not have physical idols, but we have spiritual ones. Because whoever serve the most, lead the most. And that is your God. Now, are we serving self? Because it comes back down to that, right? Whether we say, oh, I have to work, oh, I have to do this. We are not chained so as to be forced to do anything. We do these things because we want to, as much as we can try to convince ourselves we don't want to. For example, this past few weeks, our house has had no AC. It's been broken. And boy, oh boy, it's as if my parents didn't grow up in the Philippines. I guess Louisiana heat is different, because they could not bear it. But it's those little things, the comforts of this world, that will pull away a brother and a sister.
Good word. Good word.
The ease of never having to worry about paying for gas, some of us. About living paycheck to paycheck because I can work whenever I want. I can do whatever I want to provide for my family. It's not just in America. In the Philippines too. Everywhere in the world. That's why it says we fight not with flesh and blood, but principalities. Because everything has been made for us to get comfortable. And when we're comfortable, you're not growing. We've heard of growing pains. I'm going to tell you something else new. There's called getting old pain. There's getting old pain. Well, I'm not talking about just the physical pain of getting old. It's getting old in the book, in the spirit. Because as we get more mature, as we get more perfect in the Word, the more it hurts. The more we know what we ought to do, and the more we don't do it, the more it hurts. And time again, as we get accustomed to getting hurt, for all those who have worked out before, we have these things here, they're called calluses. I preached a message a few years ago during Tabernacles. It says, sin makes the heart grow callous. And it happens no matter how old or how young we are. Calluses can form in our hearts. So we say we're not going to follow Israel. But are we doing what we're saying? Or are we all just liars, pretending to be saints, but ain't? In 2 Samuel, chapter 12, verse 7. Again, we know this story. 2 Samuel, chapter 12, verse 7. This is David. After he has done the deed, after he has lusted over Bathsheba, after he has sent off her husband to be killed, Nathan walks up to him and gives him a little story. And David judges himself. Are we judging ourselves today? Then Nathan said to David, "You are the man. Thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel. I anointed you sovereign, king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wives, into your bosom. And I gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And what does it say? If that were not enough, I also would have given you much more. Now, David was one person who much is given. And as king, much is required. And even still, the father said, if you had wanted more, I would have given it. But what David did was, he went outside what he was supposed to do and sinned. Now, all of us in here, if not most of us, want something. Want something that we've been wanting for a long time. Now, are we going to go outside of our role to get what we want? The Father is saying, I provided you everything you need. Everything for you to do what's right. And if you want more, I'll give it to you. But sometimes what we want does not align with what the Father wants, right? Or am I the only one who has certain wants that I know is not the will of the Father? Or maybe most of you here have forgotten what it is to be young, huh? No, we all want something, no matter how young and how old. Those three there, who's not even 15 yet, they all want something. And they'll ask their parents to get it. And they'll nag their parents to get it until their parents give up. Now the Messiah gave us the same parable, right? Of a woman who went to the judge and kept asking for the same thing over and over and over. Now how much more will the children of the Most High? The Master, Yeshua, he prayed how many times? For the cup to be taken away from him? 3 times. And he knew what needed to be done. Yet he asked 3 times. So even the Master had something he wanted that was not along the Father's will. So I know we all do. And I know we will keep asking. But as the Master prayed, if it's your will, let it be done. I know many of us have prayed. And many of those prayers have been unanswered. Correct? But we believe to the end that all things happen for the good of those who love him. But, again, this world is too distracting. I know it. We all know it. And we are praying for my young Christian brothers and sisters because we definitely know it. David was distracted. And that's all it takes to step out of bounds. To take your eyes off the prize. Ezekiel said it. A man can live righteous his whole life. Sin and die in it. And all his righteousness will be forgotten. That's why we have to be on our toes. We can't afford distractions. But I know some of us, or maybe it's just me, sometimes I go look for those distractions. Why? Maybe Almighty is asking too much, huh? To fear him with all my heart, with all my soul. Maybe that is too much for what he has given me. I got to answer that for myself. In 1 King chapter 11, verse 3. Here we go again. Another king, another sovereign, and he had even more than David. Is that? We all know the story of Solomon. Now, while I'm reading chapter 11, verse 3 of 1 Kings, while I'm reading this, let's substitute, wives and princesses and concubines with something else. How about money, and more money? Because one thing I know is constant in this world is its love for money. I asked my friend, what do you want to do one day when you're finally a doctor and you got all this stuff? He said, I want a Lamborghini, matte black. I'm like, is that it? I said, yeah, that's it. Some people are striving for something just like that. Sometimes we think people are deep and understanding and mature. Then you ask them what they want in life, what they really want in life. Most of those things is tied to money, or giving their family a comfortable life, a good life. And how is that done in this world? With money. So Solomon, he had 700 monies, and 300 monies. And his wife, his monies, turned away his heart. And it came to be when Solomon was old that his money worries turned away his heart after other things. Maybe it's the business. Maybe it's the job. Maybe it's the boss. Whatever it is can turn our heart away because of what we want. Now, Solomon lusted after his wife, so follow what they had to say. Now, I know the story goes deeper than that for Solomon. He had children with those wives. But for our sake, since none of us here have 1,000 wives, but we all sometimes want money, and we'll do things to get money, or maybe, I don't know, for our children, or for our children's children, we get distracted. We get distracted. And it came to be when he was old that his heart was not perfect with Elohim, as was the heart of his father David. And Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the mighty ones of the Sidonians, and after him become the abomination of the Ammonites. Thus Solomon did evil in the eyes of Almighty Yahweh, and did not follow Yahweh completely like his father David. See, David stumbled, sinned, and repented. But at the end of Solomon's life, he turned away. Is that us? That all this time, that when trouble comes at the end of our lives, then we turn away. Are we going to be who Ezekiel warned us about? That we can be righteous? At least sometimes we perceive ourselves to be righteous our whole lives. Maybe because, I keep the Sabbath. I keep the feast days. I keep this and I keep that. Sometimes we count ourselves as righteous. But that's the most basic thing we could do. The number one thing is fear Elohim. That is the beginning of wisdom. And to love him with all your heart and all your soul. Now, can we do that distracted? No. It wouldn't be all my heart and all my soul anymore. And I'm sure all of us have done things before, whether it's work, whether it's writing something, whether it's creating something, where your focus was entirely on that one thing. They call that the flow. We've all been there sometimes, more than once. Right? When following Yeshua, our whole lives